afternoon, everybody. And my name is Helena. I am part of Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a portfolio business on your terms. And I'm really excited to say that even though Kelly isn't here, she has had an eye operation. Some of you might know that. She's a little bit out of action at the moment, but getting better and recovering. So you get me all to yourself one more time, and I'm going to be talking about how to contribute so your business grows. But the first things first, buzz in our business. Obviously, Kelly's out of action for a little while, so which is why you're getting quite a bit of me at the moment. But we're really excited about the in terms of the buzz in our business. So whilst I'm about to tell you the buzz in my business, thank you to those of you who are joining me. Some of you might be joining me inside the Connection Hub, which is the place where all the great conversations take place. So I'm just going to share that out just in case you're joining me here on the Speaker Insight page. But I'm going to share that out kind of with you so that you've got that. Hang on a second. Oh, my word, it's all happening. So some of you might well be joining me inside the Connection Hub already, which is great. And some of you may actually still be on the page. So I'm managing both of those at the moment. So just bear with me for one moment whilst I make that all happen. And it means that I can actually share it out to all of you. Oh, here we go. Beautiful. So let's just turn that down and I'm all yours. So it means that I might well see some of your comments. If you're inside the Connection Hub and watching, I may not actually see your name as you pop the buzz in your business in, but I would love to hear the buzz in your business. So let's line you up to do a little bit of that. Tell us what the buzz in your business is. What's interesting, exciting? So, yeah, for us, the buzz that's happening is absolutely that we are on the 8th of March, we are running our next challenge, which is the Grow Your Group Challenge. We have nearly 10,000 people. Please do share the Connection Hub out. If you love it, share it out. But we have here we go, the Grow Your Group Challenge, our Facebook challenge, which essentially is us sharing how we've grown our group organically to nearly 10,000 people, our Facebook group. Most people really can benefit from having some kind of community, and certainly an online community in some way. So we thought it would be a really good thing, because people ask us all the time, how on earth are you managing that? And how are you managing to get it so engaged inside the Connection Hub? So that's essentially what we're going to be sharing with you from the 8th to the 12th. So I've just popped the link in there, so please do join us. If you haven't signed up yet, sign up. I'd love to share with Kelly that we've got loads and loads of people signed up for the challenge, because there's nothing nicer than knowing that we can contribute, which of course is the purpose of this particular live. So I'm going to share a whole bunch of ways that you as a speaker, author, or coach might well be able to make your contribution in a way that supports you in growing your business as well. Because that is, sort of, I think one of the keys to making sure that your contribution is working is that you see some kind of return on investment on it. But I want to debunk that a little bit and share some myths that are actually going in there. Arasu, very nice to see you, and thank you so much for your little welcome there. Tell us the buzz in your business and we shall see. So I think I've got 8 of you all together across the 2 platforms. Hi, Kieran, nice to see you. Hey to you as well. What's happening? Let me know what is happening, and I'll start talking about being of contribution, and then I'll keep on sort of having a little read of your comments. Hang on a second. Let's just go in here. Hey, Jane, nice to see you. There we go. I can see which ones of you are actually joining in various places. Okay, so let me talk about contribution. Now, contribution is one of my favorite words, and it is, hi, Julie. It's one of my favorite words and concepts. It's one of the ways in which we can't necessarily quantify how contribution comes back to us, but it's a little bit like, you pop a stone in and the ripples go out, and before you know it, something comes back at you. And our job is to really start to recognize the skills and the talents that we have and start sharing those. So I want to get you really, really clear about that. So being of contribution for us absolutely is something that unites the speakers, authors, and coaches, certainly the ones that we attract. We call you change makers. We call you, the people who want to give back, the people who want to add value, the people who want to make a positive difference in some way. Hello, you. So someone said, oh, great to see you again as well. And again, you're in the Connection Hub. So I'll say hello afterwards because I can't see what the names are. So I'm going to stop saying that now and let that go and simply be present here, which is really good. Hi, Tarina. So the thing about this is that most change makers, most of the speakers, authors, and coaches that we work with have big concepts. They have things that they want to share. They want to, you want to create movements, you want to create enablement, empowerment in some way. And for those you work for and with. So contribution is partly around really sharing what you know and what you've experienced that then allows other people to actively be inspired, encouraged, engaged, and indeed to take action in some way. But when was the last time, because none of you are telling me the buzz in the business, I'm going to make you answer me something else instead. When was the last time you really stopped to work out what contribution you are and how you can do more of it? Because in a way that really works for you. Kelly and I talk about working your business on your terms, doing it your way so that it suits and fits your lifestyle, your business, and the way that you like to do it. But in a way that really, contribution can be done in a way that serves and supports you, but also serves and supports your clients and prospects as well. So it's really about all creating that kind of win-win-win that actively goes into the business. A win for you, a win for them, a win for the world. Because most of you have some piece in your repertoire that's about doing something bigger, something that makes the world better in some way. And contribution means many different things to many different people. So what's your definition of it? I'm going to give you some dictionary definitions of it, just so that we all kind of get on the same place. But I would love to hear in the comments, what is your definition of contribution and how are you currently doing that? So if you're doing the hashtag replay, by the way, please still answer this. I would really like different people's definitions, because sometimes when you hear a definition or somebody explaining what it means to them, something triggers in them and there's a perspective that actually comes in that widens up or opens up the world for them in some way. So please do share, what is your definition of it? So let me give you some ways to think about what contribution actually is. The dictionary definition gives kind of 3 areas of it. The first of which I think you'll all like, because it's influence. Contribution is about influencing. It's about input, it's about involvement, it's about impact. So this, for me, for us, is all about really you sharing what you know, your experience. And that's all about really inviting action in others around the knowledge that you have and know. So one of the definitions here is would be giving something that adds value. I completely agree. And so that first kind of influence piece may well fall into that. So yes, thank you for that. Here we go. Taruna says, to me, contribution is about networking and collaboration. Beautiful. So we're beginning to get some different perspectives. Keep it coming. The second layer of contribution, as the dictionary kind of offers a definition, Jane says, oh, great word. Contribution to me brings to mind sharing to support and help others, giving in the world. Great. So I'm going to come on to that second one right now. So Jane, you're right on it as far as this goes. The second version of it is help, which is aid, support, the role or what part you're playing. So that calls us into active participation with the contribution element. Contribution by its very nature cannot sit alone. So by that, this is really for me about your mission in some way, and your ability to kind of signpost and role model whatever it is you're doing. So this is more about where influencing is more about sharing what you know and your experience. For me, the help element of it, active participation, right? The help element of it is more about sharing what you do. So that might be one way for you to think about it as well. The next, or the third one is it comes under this kind of giving or donation, as they put it. So influence, help, or donation. And so if you think about contribution in this way, it's what is the gift, the giving, the payment, the supply, the provision. This is all about what you have that can actively help. You know, the stuff that you do, the stuff that you have and know about. So this is about you sharing what you use or what you have. So I wanted to put those in. So Sarah Park says it's helping others in collaboration. So most of you have got similar definitions, but you can see there are different facets of it. And I want you to really kind of think about that around how do you make your contribution. So we want to make sure that you're using your contribution, because we all have a tendency to help, collaborate, network, support in some way. And that really then allows you to make your contribution. But we want you to think about it in a way that makes you want to continue to contribute. Because I think sometimes we get to the point where it's like, but I'm giving and giving and giving, or I'm sharing all of these networking things and nothing's coming back, right? So we want to make sure that you have a way of A, recognizing that that actually happens, or B, just accepting that contribution is good and somewhere down the line the ripple will come back to you, like rivers kind of flowing into each other. So the first thing to really know about contribution are these other two words, consistency and constancy. The first thing is when you are going to contribute, deciding what you're going to contribute and how you're going to contribute. I'll come on to that a little bit later. I will give you some ideas for it if you're up for that. But the first thing to do is actually kind of finding a rhythm for yourself. You know, I'm a big fan of rhythm. So finding a rhythm that allows you to consistently contribute in a way that actively works for you. So what do I mean by that? These Facebook Lives that we do every Tuesday, whether it's just Kelly, whether it's just me, whether it's us with a guest, in some way we've been doing these ever since we started this group. Every single Tuesday at 1 o'clock, because that works for Kelly and I, because that's when we can get together. Before lockdown times, I would usually go, and you'll see from past or previous ones that that actively, past or previous Facebook Lives, that we would normally do these together. In lockdown times, we've done the virtual thing, and indeed with the guests that we've got, but always at 1 o'clock, unless sometimes moving it because we've got people from the States, maybe moving it by 3 or 4 hours in order to accommodate time changes. But the consistency of showing up every single week becomes a contribution point in itself. Most of you who are watching, we have a pool of people who tend to watch live, and most other people actually come and watch these training sessions as a hashtag replay. And that's absolutely fine as well. The point here is that when you show up consistently, whether it's in a particular group where you share on a regular basis, whether it's you delivering your own content, the consistency piece builds a trust. And that in and of itself is priceless. I absolutely guarantee you. People who see you doing what you do on a regular basis in the same tone, in the same way, different content, but same perspective, same delivery that comes up, allows you to show up and allows people to know and recognize you. So this is really the key. The second piece, so consistency absolutely works. The second piece is constancy. So the more you understand the constancy of your contribution, the easier it is for you to do it. So identify your contribution. What is it? How do you give at your best? What is your best way of doing it? And around what topics? So again, feel free to share that with me. Around what topics are you actually speaking? How are you actively being at your best when you contribute? So some ways to do that, because I really want you to understand that setting a time for contribution absolutely works, consistency, but the constancy of what do you talk about all the time? What do you get excited about? What is your way to give back? Is it what's the voice that you've got, or what's the space that you show up in that allows you to actually make your contribution in this way? Do a little inventory. Where do you show up? If you think about in the last week, from this Tuesday to last Tuesday, where have I shown up? Where do I give back without even a thought of return? Where do you just regularly pop in and, make your little contribution, or give a nudge or do some encouragement or share a link in some way. The more you understand how and where people love your contribution, the easier it is for you to do more of it. So let me know, where do you show up to share what you know, or what you do, or what you have? Okay, so what you know, what you do, what you have, what your experience is. It might well be a lot of you who are here right now, the names I'm seeing right now, you show up inside the Connection Hub and you share very freely of your experience, your knowledge, the apps that you might have, the ways that you might actually run your business in some way. And that's what I'm talking about. That is contribution in itself. You may not have thought about it in that way, but people do watch, people tag other people. That happens a lot inside the Connection Hub, you know, where you've seen what somebody actually does and somebody puts up a hashtag opportunity. So Tosin, you do Facebook Lives, and that's one of the ways that you give back. Taruna, Connection Hub, my business networks, my personal Facebook page. Those are all places where you show up and contribute. Absolutely brilliant. So the more you know, the easier it is to do it. And one of the other things around this is to provide the opportunities to give. The more you hide, the less you grow your reach, right? So where do you find the opportunities? Where are the places where you show up that you can actually generate those opportunities simply by showing up and being? Sorry, just got slightly distracted by a pigeon that just flew right by the window. My apologies. So now it just comes down to, so James says in the Facebook group, connecting people. Oh, brilliant. Yes, connecting other people in that way. Connecting people, sharing information and Facebook Live interviews and humor, really important to you. And that shows your personality. So that actually helps you show up in a way that actually is very you as well, being the light that you are. In a way that really is a contribution. So our job is to show up consistently and with constancy, talking about the same things. You know, I always talk about the green flag in the sand, so that people get a sense of who you are and that you can be trusted. So let me kind of delve down a little bit more. So for those of you who want to do more contribution and who are sold on my whole just show up and share and contribute, it comes down to when, where, and how you make your contribution, because that's your decision. That's in your power and your remit too. That's your decision to make, but you have to realize one thing around that. The giving happens on so many levels. Nobody gives in isolation. So let's get really honest. Most of us give in order to get something. Now that might be an internal feeling of, I did my bit today, pat me on the back. It might actually be the thought of, how can I contribute so that I show up, so that I share my knowledge, so that somebody actually goes, I might like to work with that person. Get really honest about it. It's okay to be selfish in this way if you are, as other people have defined, excuse me, adding value in some way. Forgive me. Because here's the thing. Your knowledge is absolutely a contribution, and all contribution has a context. And when you realize that, it's easier for you to actually know, when you know why you want to contribute, or you actually get really clear and honest about that, it becomes easier to know when, where, and how to contribute using what you know, what you use, and what you do. So let's talk about when, first of all. Some of you have already done some real whens in here around, or wheres around, you know, sort of showing up in Facebook groups and that kind of thing. But the when question actually, for me, comes first. If you decide when you actively want to do something, you might set aside time for it. You might make it part of your day, which is part of that consistency piece, and that, or day or week. And you might actually decide that that is just part of your working business. I would highly recommend this because contribution is one of the best ways that people see you at your best, right? So, one of the wins is, you know, when you see something and somebody asks a question that you know the answer to, and you've got 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to actively do it, just answer. Don't think about it, just answer, respond to it, do it. The second layer of that is actually making space and time, maybe in your diary, or using those buffer minutes. If you finish something early and you've got 15 minutes left, you go, okay, great, make room for just going into whatever group you're in, whatever networking thing you're in, and just adding value. Pop it in the diary. You know, Kelly is forever I do a lot of the one-to-one kind of calls and connections with people. Kelly goes into bigger groups and actively shares what she knows because that works for her in her style. And people get great value out of it. And so again, it's this constancy piece around that is a voice that is trusted. And so please do think about, where do I, when am I going to show up on a regular basis? It might well be that, if you're, hopefully in about 2 weeks' time, when the school runs are actually back on, and you might actually find that you come back and you have a cup of tea and that's your time to sit and contribute for 15-20 minutes. That might be it for you. It might be that you get a juicy piece of work done after your 90-minute stint and you actually relax by contributing in some way and just clearing your head by sharing what you know, because that becomes really easy. But also contribute when you're asked. Be on the lookout for places. This is a really good one. Be on the lookout for places where you just get asked to input. Become the someone that people ask by giving more. Become that person that they go, oh, Bob is here. Let's ask Bob this. This is absolutely something that's, sort of that you'll find when people get to know you a little bit more, they'll start to tag you as someone who knows the answer to things. That's really what you want to play with, right? So let's move on from the whens and make room for some wheres. One of the things that I will actually do is let me just go and fetch it because this will be good as well. The question really around this, both for the when and the where, is absolutely the what do you want to be known for and seen as. If you haven't done that training, let me pop it in here for you so that you can actively see it. Let me just pop it in both of these. See if we can do this. There we go. The what do you want to be known for and seen as is, you're in charge. You are actively in charge of how you show up and what people say about you. We had a discussion about this in the in Changemaker Central yesterday, and it simply allows you to put the words in people's mouths around what you do. If you show up in that constancy and you are always talking about your subject matter, not in a boring way, in a way that adds value, then people get to know you reputationally for that. So if you haven't done a known for seen as, it takes you about half an hour. You'll get me wittering at you again and guiding you through the process. I don't witter, obviously. But it can be really useful for you to know what to talk about in this way. So whilst you go off and do that in a little while, let's talk. So that was talking about when you're going to do your contribution, when you're going to make space and time for it. Let's talk about where. Some of you have already said this. Your own Facebook groups is a really great place to do it. So, again, Kelly and I go live, not only in here. I haven't managed to share this into Changemaker, but I will a little bit later. But also in other people's groups. Where is your avatar hanging out? We always ask that question of, who has your customer before you or after you? What groups are they hanging out in? And not just Facebook groups. They might be, sort of what are the social channels are they hanging out in? What are the forums? What are the blogs, the networks that you use that you could show up in that came up? And yes, oh, I'm pleased. I'm excited to hear what. So someone's just actually said it was an amazing conversation inside Changemaker. I did a lot of doodling about it this morning. I shall look forward to hearing what comes out of that conversation, because it really is important that you know where you show up and how you're actually doing so. One of the things, obviously taking us by storm, we kicked off this set of Tuesday trainings in 2021 with a Clubhouse expose almost around how do you use it to the best effect. Clubhouse may well be one of the wares that you actually start showing up. Have you started showing up? Are you doing your own show, or have you got your own room in there? Or are you contributing in others? One of the things that's actually happening a lot at the moment, obviously not this week, but is, Kelly is regularly showing up in various places. And within moments of saying who she is, people knowing her, she gets asked to contribute. So she gets invited to actually speak in there. Set yourself an intention to be the person that gets invited, or that the room opens up to, so that you can share your expertise. Because here's the thing, you want to contribute, you want people to listen to you, and that's actively what can happen. So by the same token, maybe it's not Clubhouse. Someone like me, still on Android, not allowed. Podcasts are my way of doing it. So your own, if you host your own, brilliant. That's a great way to contribute and allow other people a platform to contribute if you do interviews, but also others. You know, if you are able to contribute through showing up on somebody else's platform, that can be a really great thing. So, and in fact, actually, here's a really cool way to do it. So I had a brilliant conversation with Jana Willoughby, who is one of our Connection Hub members, and we were talking about the 100 podcasts. I made her do a little bit of homework on this one. I said, make a list of the 100 podcasts you'd love an invite to, and then start to kind of energize that, start to hang out in this. And now she's beginning to tick them off. I think she's got a fair amount done, and one of the big names on there actually got ticked off a little while back. So there's something here about being an active participant in where you contribute that you can stop and think about, that makes your time even more valuable when you are contributing. So where would you like to be seen? What do you want to be known for and seen as? And where would you like to be seen? Make that list and start showing up in those spaces so that you can get invited to be one of the people that contributes in that way. What talks can you do? What interviews? What organizations? What associations? What charities? What people need your information? And how can you begin to hang out in places where you can actively be asked? So we've done when to contribute. We've done what is contribution. We've done when to contribute. We've done the where to contribute to get you thinking about it. Now let's actually do some how to contribute. So for a start, let me say this, and I'm going to say this really earnestly. Don't contribute in order to get something back. Just contribute. Just be of value. Just add value. Because, and certainly not necessarily in the moment, contribution isn't an immediate give back. It really isn't. It can be. It absolutely can be. There can be moments where you say something and people just reach out to you straight away and go, oh my God, I really want to know more about that. But most of the time, contribution is a built up kind of thing, as a, you know, sort of like a mountain grows over time, you know, sort of goes a little bit taller or shifts around in some way. Contribution has these weird and wonderful, wacky ways of just coming back to you, but usually not immediately. So the other thing is, you know, you contribute by sharing what you know, using what's in your head, using your experience in some way, using the models that you have. Contribution that can absolutely come by you sharing the latest information that you simply put into a blog, for example. I'm not saying share the blog, but share the information that was in the blog. That's kind of a repurposing through talking in some way. But you know your subject matter well. So show up in places where that subject matter will be well received, and you will reap the rewards in a big way. Sharing resources, do not underestimate this one. Sharing your experience of using resources. In fact, just this morning, Tony Wynyard literally just popped a little hashtag call out inside the Connection Hub around how do I do video testimonials? You know, are there any apps out there? Sharing apps, sharing resources, sharing things that know, or sharing ways to use a particular resource that people may not have actually used or done before is a really good thing. When we did our interview with Liam last week, you know, he was like, oh my God, how are you doing what you're doing on StreamYard? And what are you actually doing? So it could well be that the way you're using something that you use, that you take for granted, that's an app or a resource or a software of some kind, may actually just be the contribution that you need for someone. I remember showing somebody a tiny little thing on PowerPoint that now like has that person forever tagging me in various things, just in a, oh my God, she just knows so much. And is that entire, you know, sort of, it just becomes a really delicious thing when people think of you because of the contribution that you've made to them. So got to get it. Yes, Jane, you get up, honey. I'm glad to have spent the morning with you as such, and yeah, go have a cup of coffee. That's really great. Nice to see you, hon. So final kind of bit. So you share what you know. You share the resources you use and know how to use, the apps, the supporting documents, the websites, and you also contribute by signposting and connecting others. That happens a lot. The more you know or find out a little bit more about someone, which is why I'm saying you're in charge of how you present yourself, the easier it is that you can connect people to the other people that they need. Part of the reason that we set up the Connection Hub was to marry speakers, authors, and coaches to the people that support them, the web designers, the graphic designers, the illustrators, the publishers, etc. Because people are always looking for connections. They're always looking to grow their business in some way. And so how can we make that easy? Contribution is making things easy for people. And of course, oh my goodness me, all of you speakers, authors, and coaches who want to change the world, change makers, you want to be sharing your experience. You want to be inspiring people with your story. So find the opportunities, find the places where you can actively have a little platform to share your story in that way. So my hope is, so let me know in the comments, again, whether you're on the replay or whether you're here with me live still, share with me, what are you going to do as a result of what I've said? What are you going to do to allow yourself to contribute even more? Where are you going to show up? How are you going to show up? Are you going to shift when you show up? Let me know what you're going to do as a result of this, whilst I kind of do a little summary, if you like. You know, contribution pays its own rewards. I will say that over and over and over again. It may not be immediate. Your job is to do it consistently and with constancy, so that you know what so you're showing up in a way that you want to. It starts with recognizing that you have something of value. So for those of you who are prone to doing a little bit of imposter syndroming and that sort of thing, let that go and just show up and share. It's what you know, it's what you've experienced, it's what you've used, it's what you have. Or you're going to start approaching like-minded group owners. Yes, yes, and more yes, for sure. Because, hey, who knows what can happen, right? That's one of my favorite questions. Hey, what else is possible for us here? And that's a great approach, by the way. Hey, I really love your group. I love it because, so this would be the recipe I would do. So here's my recipe for that. Hey, I love your group because I do this, and these are my avatar. How can I be a contribution in your group? Is there a way that I can do it? So don't just necessarily show up. By all means, hang out in the group for a little while, get the lie of the land, and then reach out and say, hey, how can we work together? That's one of my favorite networking questions. So I'll give you that one as well. Contribution, right? And then allow yourself to just show up and be seen, and do that consistently. Pick a couple of groups and hang out in them for more than a week. Hang out for a month and see what the rhythm of that place is. Is this a place that is good for you to make your contribution? Is the style that you use, maybe you love to do lives, maybe they do a lot of writing, maybe you don't type very fast. All of those things come into how do you want to contribute in some way. And remember this, you do not have to think stuff up. You already know this, you already have this, you already be this. So just go and be the contribution that you do. And just let go of all the thought of the reward, the reciprocity, and just do it, because you really don't know what's going to come back at you. Keep asking, what can I add? Where can I add? And schedule when you're going to do your adding. For those of you who are wanting, I am absolutely going to do my ask around this, because some of this definitely happens. I am definitely going to say, come if you are wanting to grow your own group, if you're wanting to know how to show up and contribute a little bit more inside either your own Facebook group or indeed other people's, then please come and join us for the challenge that happens on the 8th to the 12th of March, because we're going to be contributing every single day around how you can grow your group, but not only that, actually grow your presence, your reach, and the way in which you're seen. So that in itself becomes a way for you to contribute. We will definitely stimulate you, as we do our best to do every single Tuesday. So we will catch you next week on Tuesday. But in the meanwhile, if you haven't joined the Connection Hub, come and join the Connection Hub. Come and join our challenge. And go do the Known for Seen As. Like, make a cup of tea. It's about 35 minutes of you actively scribbling things as a little piece of homework. Maybe not straight after this, but go and have some lunch and then come back and do that, or do it a little bit later in the week. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Many blessings to all of you, and keep letting me know how you are going to contribute from here on in.